reading some of the comments. So anyway, he recommends to someone, go move to Seattle. It'll be great, happily ever after. You'll love it. It'll be perfect. And I'm just reading all this stuff here. Sorry, I'm just going to read a little bit here. But meaningful, awful time. Yeah, the stuff comes out of my mouth. I just make stuff up all the time. That's part of my mercurial thing. Welcome to Chicago, right? So it's good. It's good for me that one of you guys is in Chicago, because Chicago, like, it's good for me like that. Okay, so rectification. Yes, I do use Locational as a rectification tool. I'm able to rectify charts a lot better now because of what I can tell with that. So okay, so make sure I didn't miss any important comments here. Nice, Ashley. All right. Okay, so last story, and then I think we're going to wrap up. Yeah, Chicago is a cool place. I have good memories walking around Chicago. So you look at transits to the relocation chart. Yeah, yes, you can definitely do that. It's definitely an important layer to consider, the transits to the relocation chart. So anyway, this astrologer says, hey, move to Seattle to my client, or his client became my client, and you're going to live happily after. It's going to be great. So what he recommends is a moon in Scorpio ascending line. Now, the moon's fall is in Scorpio, and it has its benefits. It definitely has its heaviness, and it definitely has its challenges. It is the moon sign you should least rush to recommend to somebody as a location, because it's the most likely to be heavy. And he didn't really understand that there's a difference between being on east or west of the lines either, because Seattle was actually on the 12th house side of the ascending line, which means that Seattle was east of the position of the moon's line on the map. And by the way, you have to use the zodiacal positions for that, not the inmundo positions for that. But anyway, so he basically tells this person to go happily ever after in Seattle, where they have a moon in Scorpio rising, but rising at the end of the moon in her most difficult sign. So what happens for the client, they try over and over and over to get a house, and nothing works. They can't get a house there. Like, just beating their head against the brick wall, it just isn't happening. And they come to me like, well, this guy said it's going to be great. And I'm like, I'm thinking he doesn't understand some things that he needs to understand. Part of it's because, if you do evolutionary astrology, great, but so I was saying, if you do evolutionary astrology, great, but round yourself out. Like, you need to learn some traditional astrology. You need to learn more about things like essential dignities. Maybe you want to pick up some Vedic astrology. Maybe you want to, evolutionary astrology is cool. I have plenty of friends who do it. I'm down for it. But I think if you get too much into a narrow modern view of things, you will miss some very important things. And this guy did that. He did. He looked at this line and thought, happily ever after. And I'm looking at this line thinking, that is one of the worst places you could recommend to somebody, And I think I was more right in that case, because I'm looking at a few more things than he is, and I think I understood a couple things he didn't. Which is not to say that I'm perfect, but I didn't miss that. I didn't think that was hard to interpret. I thought that was very easy to interpret, that it was not a good place. So, cautionary tale: be careful out there, guys. Don't just recommend this stuff willy-nilly. So you know now. You know how important this is. You know how significant it could be. You know how you could kind of ruin somebody's life if you don't know what you're doing. And I hope to God I never do that, right? I do my best to always do my best. And that's why I study Western and Vedic. I think I have a responsibility to do that, because if I don't, I could only see one half of the elephant. I could think the tusk is really nice and smooth and miss the stinky other part. So I'm not going to, I don't want that karma, right? If I recommend a place, I want it to be what I say it is, right? I want to be like, I think it's like this. And so I think it's good for this, maybe not as good for that. I think it's like this and that. And then I've told that person the best I can tell them, and they can make their own decision about where they want to go, figure out what fits their goals and their needs and their desires and all that. So yeah. So we have talked about holistic locational astrology tonight a little bit. And I did think it was so neat that I just literally, this guy gives me a triple Aries, a card that's literally triple Aries. And I'm like, okay, I guess I got to talk about that tonight too. But I think it actually turned out to be like an interesting example there. So, okay. So let's see here. So just checking the last comments here. So final comments. I might get some final questions. I've already borrowed you guys' ears for quite a while. Yeah, that was like, okay, I guess I can tie that in here tonight, huh? Um, yeah, and it's weird when, like, I've been an astrologer for 30 years, and eventually I like look at my own chart and go, oh, that's why my chart says I do what I do. That's why like locational astrology has been my thing forever. Um, it has a lot to do with that Saturn and Cancer square Jupiter and Aries in a triple way in all my charts. You know, kind of fun, kind of interesting, huh? Oh yeah, thank you guys. So I don't know what all we're doing here with AstroStar, how often we're going to do live streams and stuff like that, but I'm looking for more ways to talk to more people. So, let's invite people to the app, get some people to join. Let's have more live streams. We'll have more conversations. This is new. This is growing. I don't know. My feeling is let's be a part of building something new and awesome, and it'll create more opportunities for more people to learn, and that's just good, right? It's just good vibes all around, good energy all around. So I feel so honored to be a part of this. I'm just so glad I found it. So glad you guys found me, and I get to be in here chatting with folks because this is what I'm passionate about. This is what my life has been kind of dedicated to, other than like being a parent and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I'm a happy boy today. So thank you, Carol. Thank you, ANS. So yeah, I do have some spots on my calendar here. If you do want to book, there's lots of people you can work with here. Great. I'm sure these are all wonderful people. They've vetted these people, right? So I'm sure these are all great folks to work with. But I have made some space on my calendar to be available to people from this app specifically. And if you do get a reading through me, then that also supports AstroStar. We want them to be successful. We want them to make money too, and everybody could get good stuff, out of the whole deal. It is an all-in-one astrology app community, and these guys are receptive too. If you have ideas, like I can pass them on to them, and usually I say, "Hey, I think this would be good," and they go, "Okay, we'll do that." So they're really receptive. They want this to be successful. They want it to grow. Um, they're willing to work with us, and so this could be really a big, happy, kind of community thing. And they've got some brilliant tech people, obviously working on it, and just really good energy. Like one of them flew out to come hang out with me. We met in Sedona, had lunch, talked about the app, and I just really got a good vibe from all that. And I thought it was really, really cool. They're willing to do that and really kind of see who they're working with, and make something good happen here. So I think it's super exciting. And by the way, Jupiter is in sidereal Aries right now. So AstroStar is starting with Jupiter in Aries as well. Just happens to be in their sidereal chart, which is the just the facts, ma'am, side of astrology. Sidereal is this is who you are, deal with it. It's not necessarily your personality so much, but this is what's up. This is what you're going to be doing with your life. So AstroStar is meant to be this sort of Jupiter and Aries kind of thing here, and that bold, pioneering, positive, let's make something happen here, kind of energy. So naturally, I love it, and I think it's really cool that they're doing that. All right. So yes, thank you guys. Feel free to stay in touch. I am doing. Oh, thank you, Carrie. I am doing a talk on Ceres. I feel like that might be the most important talk I ever give because Ceres is so important and so not understood. And one of my old friends who has passed away is the guy who really turned me onto that. And I tested it in locational astrology forever and found he was right. That what he said about Ceres was right. And I was kind of surprised, but I tested it to make sure he was right, and he was right. And Ceres is the most important, awesome thing in astrology that nobody knows about. Um, Practically. I mean, we don't give her enough emphasis like we should. And she's a dwarf planet. There's no reason she shouldn't be a big as part of the pantheon as Uranus and Neptune and Pluto. Um, so I've got a lot of things to say about that. I'm going to make a case, and not everybody's going to agree, but I'm going to make my case, and it is backed up by my experience with it. So that's a talk I'm giving next week. Maybe you can text me about that. It'll be on YouTube eventually. So eventually you can just kind of Google probably Moses Siregar series at CERES, and this there's an evolutionary astrology study group who's hosting me, and they're gonna have that on YouTube eventually. I'm gonna drink some water soon too, Lily. Thank you for reminding me. All right, very good, very good, very good. All right, well, as much as I hate to end this because you guys are still hanging out, which is super cool. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so I looked. So Lily's saying that they're gonna have their office at a certain city in Illinois that I recommended, and it was because Lily had this really cool parent at this particular town. So she's gonna use the magic because if you go exactly to a Perrin, it's on. It's happening. Those gods that are showing up at that latitude in a crossing, they're going to come through in spades. They're going to really show up. So that is a very significant position for Lily to be there in that spot. So I think that's really good for AstroStar. Hopefully that's really good news for you guys. Um, all right. All right. Good night, Jen. Really appreciate you being here, everybody, including those of you that I've been chatting with here tonight. And awesome. All right. Well, I guess all good things got to come to an end, right? So thank you, Lily. Thank you, Rainey. Thank you, everybody. And let's keep it going, right? Okay. Well, good night, everybody. All right. Have fun out there. Do your best. I'll check you later. Adios. Thank you, Noel and Sue.